Wonderful part for me was I really got interested in the energy business. And so through a number of jobs all across northern Indiana over many, many years, I got a lot of experience within the territory. We cover more or less the northern third of the state. And I've been here, as I said, a long time, and this is our 100-year anniversary, as you know. But we have the absolute best management team we've had in our company since I've been here. Over the last 2 or 3 years, particularly with Jimmy Staten's leadership and now Jim Stanley's leadership, we couldn't have a better management team that cares about our customers and cares about our employees and cares about the environment and building our economy. You know what was great about 2012? We had some base hits and we had some home runs. One of the home runs, I would argue, is the inland logistics port in Kingsbury. That's going to literally, connect us to the world with our products from the Midwest and bringing products in from outside to the Midwest, and more efficiently than anybody else does it. We also have examples like Paul Worth Engineering in Valparaiso, 40 engineers that design the best steel producing equipment in the world, and they're going to help our steel mills be even more efficient. The Ratner Steel at the Port of Indiana was announced. The Urshel Labs, just recently announced, is going to stay in Porter County. Here's a company that has produces some of the finest food processing equipment in the world and could go anywhere they want, and they decided to stay in Porter County. What a victory for us. A few years back we had Canadian National announced in Gary, Modern Forge announced in Maryville, Monosol, they're on their 5th expansion in LaPorte. We have a lot of really great things happening around here, and people are starting to recognize we can do it. A huge fan of the RDA, and this was a concept that even Bill Sheldrake, I give him credit for, with policy analytics, talked about at the Port of Indiana. I remember back around, that was late 90s, early 2000s, about having a regional authority with funding behind it that could invest in capital projects. So the concept of the Northwest Indiana RDA was created. Governor Daniels got behind it. A lot of our legislators got behind it. Ultimately, we got legislation where we would take $14 million of casino dollars, $3.5 million of seeded funds from Porter County, combine the two to have $17.5 million of regional money within the 2 counties, and then complemented by another $10 million from the state. So you have a pool of $27.5 million to work with on an annual basis, and you can work on catalytic projects like extending the runway at the Gary-Chicago Airport, like extending more access to Lake Michigan with the Marquette plant, which our congressman has championed for so long. And what a great concept. We're sitting here on the fresh coast and nobody can get to it. So there needs to be more access there. The Portage Park is just a phenomenal park on the shores of Lake Michigan. It was done with RDA money. Wouldn't have ever been done because we couldn't have got enough political support to get enough money to do the deal. And it's nestled right next to U.S. Steel and the Burns Waterway. The park itself is actually used to be a place where there was a lot of waste years ago deposited there from the steel mills, and it was pickling type material was one, but there were other wastes in there, so that all had to be cleaned up. So we cleaned all of this stuff up, and now we got a beautiful park in the dunes. And if you haven't been there, you have got to get to Portage Park. And that's going to, ultimately, we're going to also connect the Burns Waterway up to where you may be able to buy a canoe or a boat at Bass Pro and be able to take it down and get it to Lake Michigan for a tryout. So that's someplace in the works down the road. But what the RDA has done is created a funding source, and without a funding source you can't make big deals happen. And it's very hard from a political standpoint to get multiple communities to work together on big projects. So having a common funding source at the 2-county level, and with, again, great leadership with Bill Hanna, our previous chairman, Lee Morris, Their board of directors put countless hours in to really work hard at making some catalytic projects come to fruition. And it's exciting. It's creating excitement. And we got a Legion flying in and out of the Gary-Chicago Airport now. The runway's going to be completed here at the end of 2013. We're cleaning up the Little Cal River and the Calumet River. Indiana, Northwest Indiana, we're coming back.